is up? I'm Rick, the Fat Man GM. You may or may have not have heard of me babbling and rambling on a few of the YouTube channels and Facebook channels regarding to our hobby, role-playing games in general, tabletop games, wargaming, so on, etc. I have started back when I was in my early teens. I have well over 40 years worth of experience in this hobby that we love and share. And a big part of what I like to do is go back and revisit a lot of the stuff that I have and have accumulated in my gaming career, if you will. And everything from MERP, Starfleet, from FASA, a slew of Dungeons and Dragons and Shadowrun, Star Wars, etc., etc., etc. And I revisit these items individually, and hopefully to give some nostalgia for myself, to give you a little bit of an insight into some game system that you may or may not have heard of or may have not had the opportunity to play, and to remind those of us out there that do have them that these are quite viable and still entertaining today. So here we go. Alright, my friends, we actually have I won't say it's a rarity, but it doesn't come up very often, but we're doing an unveiling or an unwrapping, an unboxing, whatever you want to call it. Somebody I've had the privilege to get to know a little bit by the name of Glenn Price has been designing some games for an old game system called Space Opera. And when Space Opera went out, like a lot of game companies and systems go, there were still a lot of holes left in the Star Atlases, and Glenn has had the privilege and the opportunity to work and refill and to fill these missing gaps for this older game system. It's an excellent game system. It still has a lot of viability for play. I have said that on a number of occasions when so many game systems, this is a cause and effect. Every few years or every 10 years, a major revampation, a major change in the style and flavor and philosophy behind our games comes about. And a lot of times the old game systems are either modified and converted to something new, or they get bought up like a lot of corporations do today. They get bought up, the people lose interest in them as they move on to the next great thing, and at that point they cease producing product for them. I have long been an advocate that and there's a lot of detractors out there that don't agree with me, but I've been a long time advocate that says, look, just because it's an older system doesn't mean it's not a viable, fun system to play, that there isn't a lot of value in it. And for those who are on a coin conscious basis, you can acquire a lot of these older systems fairly cheap off the internet or through a PDF format if that's your choice. And another thing to keep in mind is that this is where our current hobby came from. It's from these stepping stones and these different learning blocks as we came along and improved. So in some aspects, they're timeless. There are certain game systems, mechanic styles, what have you, that are timeless, and they still work as good today as they did 40 years ago. And if for those people who don't agree with that, you're more than welcome to your opinions. I'm just telling you the facts, that there's always room for these things. And like I said, I've been an advocate for many years now that certain old systems shouldn't be left to gather dust on the shelves. That there is room for adding new material for those systems, in my opinion. And Glenn Price is one of these rare individuals who agrees with me and is working to fulfill those missing pieces, if you will. And good going, brother. I'm truly looking forward to unboxing this thing today. I almost made the mistake of, like I always do when these things come, when I get something in the mail, I tear into it without really giving a moment, but then I paused and thought, wait, we are going to do something special, right? Now here we have it. Now the book is not quite at the same size as the original, which is fine. I have no problem with the size of the book itself. This is his second, and the Galactic People's Republic, Starsector Atlas 4. The originals were just a hair, a hair taller, maybe a hair wider, but I still like the paper as opposed to a PDF. I can't say 100% that there's anything good or bad or indifferent, but we got Glenn Price. You may or may not have seen his name prop up in a few of the channels too. Our little star map of their region, or their key region. I won't go through the entire thing today. That's something for me to read at my leisure, but we can get a good, so we'll start here. Editorial introduction. It's been years since we've been able to produce a new Starsector Atlas. The loss of a reliable intelligence source made production of new material impossible due to the difficulty of finding accurate information on star nations, cultures, their military, and individual planets in a sector. Fortunately, we've been contacted by Glenn Price, who has been able to develop a contact and intelligence community. Glenn has agreed to use his source to help develop new atlases dealing with additional star nations and the planets found in their home sectors. The first of these new atlases deals with the Galactic People's Republic. Others will follow as Glenn is able to gather necessary information and thought and enthusiasm, you know what I mean, through his sources, the intelligence community. Scott B. Beiser, editor. Copyright notice, blah blah blah. Alright. See, the thing with space opera, one of the early things that they did is they looked at the current geopolitical system and mindset of Earth back in the early 80s, and when these game systems were in the late 70s, when these game systems were being developed, and so a lot of that flavor carries forward. And so we have a star empire, if you will, that's based off of former Soviet Union. So we talk about the foundation of communism, collapse of the Soviets, the waiting period, off-world scouting, first 5-year plan, third 5-year plan. So the rise of the pure earther movement caused the remaining communists with mixed feelings. This new group could be manipulated to agree along the Marxist line of spreading the wealth to the masses, but at the same time the masses started to contribute less and less to the group. This would not do. Communism is a give and take system. You give to the state so the state can provide to you. Pure earthers seem to believe the state should give and expect few workers to carry the load while the leadership enjoyed capitalistic perks. For a short period of time, many members of the group dropped out of sight and left with valuable information and investments. The communists built a secret FTL drive for a ship, then to be used for a scouting mission into a remote area of China, no longer the PRC since 2064. The hull of the ship was built at an L5 orbital city alliance, a bit of a sick joke by a junior member of the group who was admonished by the group Soviet for uncommunist thoughts towards the sacrifice to break individuals' long covert struggle. By slow today's standards, the 25,000-ton ship was well equipped and landed. It was fitted with FTL drive, about 200 crew, 100 male, 100 females, manned the ship's people's struggle, and left Earth on October 20th, 2081. And eventually found the planet that they settled and began the reintroduction or rebirth of what would be the Soviet Republic, or in this case the Galactic People's Republic. 5-year plan, 4-year plan, 5th-year plan. First trial by fire. GPR scout ship into the Cerberus system. 2161 hailed by a strange starship, ordered to heap 2, banged the GPR procedure, turned around and left. The other ship followed it to the system FTL convergence zone and monitored its departure. Scout ship mates at Linden 3 reported there could be no question allowing an advanced spacefaring power in the home sector, so the Red Fleet was mobilized and the Red Army assembled a 1 million man invasion force. We list the first of 3 waves in the initial attack. With over 500 warships and transports, the Reds had no fears about the coming campaign. We got plenty of information, a backstory here. First bug war, Wizard Imperium War, Random Utility, the Second Interstellar War, Galactic People's Republic Today, the GPR control 1,324 planets and 41 star sectors. These range from the full-scale worlds that are industrialized to small colonies on the edges of the frontier. These include a population of close to 40 billion, of which humans make up about 60%. Average productivity of 4,000 credits. The GDP is roughly 1.6 mega credits and about 1.6 trillion. 50% of available state and taxes of the blah blah blah. Military forces of the GPR, the Red Navy, the KGB. Can't have the communists. Can't have the Soviets without having the KGB. KGB for the GPR acts in combating functions of internal and external intelligence gathering and law enforcement plus foreign operations. Rank structure, life in the GPR, i.e. wait your turn. Life of the citizen of the GPR is not the easiest. There's a constant pressure to measure up the standards of loyalty to the party the state has given it by the ever-present KGB. Complaints are not very welcome when it comes to criticism of the state or its leadership. Freedom of speech is unheard of in the GPR. The old joke goes that Citizens Federation can go to the front of the president's office and say what a horrible job he's doing. A GPR citizen can go to the front of the chairman of the Communist Party office and say what a horrible job the Federation president is doing. Got a coin? Yeah, right. Membership of the Communists, better read than dead. Travel, the people Starline. Only one official Starline for travel within the Republic. And we get to planets, the sector, various planetary control sheets giving listening data, backstory, and general information on it. Typical of a star atlas, because pretty much that's what most of the star atlases are supposed to be in the first place. Alright, little bits and pieces of interest. I'm looking forward to reading this stuff from Glenn. I really am. I'm just doing this briefly. Xing Hong Kong. I like the artwork. It's original. I'll give you some credit. Give the guy, the gal doing the artwork for you, some credit. Was it art by Julie Haggerty? Very good. Warnings for visitor, economic, embassies, Nazis, travel. There you have it. Looking forward to completely reading this one. Thank you very much, Glenn.